The place between love and wisdom can be very slippery as we make relationship decisions. And it is important, very important, that we have been able to draw a line, a very clear line of demarcation. It's another session of my conversations with singles, and I'm looking at the balance between love and wisdom in starting and building relationships. It's quite challenging. I think this is one of the most difficult areas to tread on in terms of making partner decisions when it comes to building families, when it comes to establishing a direction for our love lives. Because almost all of the times the focus is on love, the focus is on emotions, the focus is on romance, and the focus is more about how he makes me feel, how she makes me feel, how I've never felt like this before. So what is the difference? What is the place between love and wisdom? This is so important because I think that we must come to understand our human framework in making these decisions. Let's say you meet someone for the first time, probably the second time, and there is this hormonal upsurge. I've had this kind of experience again and again. Sometimes because it's always greener on the other side. Oftentimes because for most of the people already in our lives, we have entered the realm of sea finish. So new encounters, new experiences, people we are yet to explore always carry this arrestive, this captivating effect on us. And so we always have the tendency of thinking, I've never felt this way before. She had such an incredible effect on me. It was like goosebumps all over me. And so you have these kind of feelings, and trust me, if you ever had those kind of feelings, it's almost impossible. If you've not created boundaries around you as to what your responses should be, what your first inquisitions should be, what should be your routine response to such feelings. Oh, I've had those kind of feelings on the impulse of the moment. If you don't have a plan of action, a lot of such feelings are going to sway you, hit you below the belt, make you sleep, and before long, you've lost your balance. And you've started asking for people's phone numbers, you've started asking for people's contacts, you've started asking for people to meet you in the office. You don't even know whether the person you're dealing with is even a human being. And so you've had this first encounter with this person, and because of that kind of feeling, you feel love like you've never had before. And before long, both of you make commitments, and then you have already, within 2 weeks, within 1 week, in a couple of days, you've already said yes to somebody before you've had the opportunity to evaluate their strengths, to evaluate their weaknesses, to evaluate your own strengths, to evaluate your own weaknesses, and then see how these strengths and these weaknesses complement each one the other. You never will find a perfect person, but I think you need somebody whose weaknesses you can deal with. You need somebody who can also deal with your weaknesses. It's so profound. You need somebody whose strength complements your weakness. You need somebody whose weakness complements your strength. And that balance, that sync is so important. But a lot of us look helplessly as a relationship just begins itself, take control of everybody. We have these great, incredible feelings we've never had before. But why is it that even with all them, and for some of us, we need to take stock. No, we need to take stock. This feeling you're crazy about, is it the first time? Are you sure you've never come before to tell us, oh, I can't imagine, I've never felt like this before? Is it possible that this is not the first and it's not going to be the last? Why is it that people still catch feelings even after they were married? If this thing is all about feelings, then it means that every time we catch feelings with somebody else, then we got to write off a relationship, we catch feelings with somebody else, then we got to start something. Excuse me. We get to master our feelings and understand that feelings are almost all of the times upsurge of chemicals and hormones. And the problem with chemical reactions is that they do not last for a very long time. Before you say what is your name, those feelings are going to expire. And then let's say you also went to this place, you went to a club, you went to a function, you went to a birthday, and then you meet this someone, and without planning, one thing led to the other, and you guys had this unplanned, unintended sexual encounter. But you realize that you enjoyed this sex like never before. This sexual encounter blew your mind. This is something you can't live without. And before you know it, you guys get bonded like you've never experienced before. And due to that uncommon connection, you continue with the relationship and you make commitments. And before you say, what is this? You already said yes. And you've not had some substantial time to know this person. And so for you, I'm in love. And I gotta go forward. And so any person who tries to point out something you need to be careful about becomes an enemy, and then you move on until now things fall apart and the center cannot hold. How do we where do we place love? Where do we place wisdom as we navigate our relationships? I'll still suggest we don't marry whom we love best, or who we feel best, sorry. No, you could feel this is the best and yet you were wrong. I want to guarantee you, life will not give you the best. You must demand for the best. And if you're going to demand for the best, it will require that you put in the work required to get the best. You must take time to pray. You must take time to evaluate. You must take time to ask questions. You must take time to study people's trajectory, people's history. You must find out why and how and why and where their last relationship ended, why it ended, how many relationships that has collapsed in their history. Because if people cannot sustain relationships, if somebody has been in 10 relationships before you, in as much as you want to excuse people, is there something about their character that is making the relationships in their past not to last, not to survive? And is that something you want to ignore? How are you not going to be counted as one of the numbers going forward? Why will we not be interested in the quality of decisions you've made in your past, the things you've done? How do you come to that place where you're convinced that you don't want to find out these things? Remember, 5 virgins, 10 virgins, 5 of them were foolish. 5 of them were wise. We must pass the wisdom test. And the wisdom test will demand that we think.